Rightio, ready to go?
And the record button is on, right? We don't want to miss this one.
No, it's recording.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Broadcasting from the world-famous Bondi Beach, this is Bondi Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Weekend Wellness Show. This is Liam Zollo, your host, and my beautiful co-host. She's got her jacket back on.
Woohoo!
How cool is this jacket that she's wearing?
It's just so cold outside, you know? Like ever since Isiah came in, the wind's kind of blown in, so it's a little bit chilly. So
we got a winter chill as soon as Isiah comes in. Welcome into Isiah, the sexologist.
Thank you, guys. I'm sure we're going to warm things up quickly.
Yeah, definitely. A sexologist. We just talked about this off air.
Yeah.
Can anyone become a sexologist? Can I become a sexologist?
You can, Liam.
Yes? Awesome. So what is a sexologist?
Okay, so ologist is the study of, right?
I'm in then. I'm a sexologist. I'm a sexologist. I'm studying. I'm studying. So
I'm sure you are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So is this? I've never really heard of a sexologist before. So tell us about this.
Your journey.
Yeah. Look, it's not something that's very common, to be honest. I mean, no one told me when I was going through school that you could become a sexologist. It wasn't really one of the options that my career counsellors gave me.
Yeah.
It's kind of something that I.
It's not in the catalogue, is it?
Not in the catalogue. It should be.
It's amazing. Like, I think it is growing in popularity. I think we're becoming more liberated around sex, and we're realizing the importance of sex to our relationships, but
100%.
also to our overall well-being.
It's the best thing on earth.
It's great. So many health benefits. Great for your relationship. Great for depression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fun, and also, you know, recent research shows that we're actually more productive the next day if we have sex the night before. So it's also great for our careers and business.
We were just talking about productivity as well before this.
We can include that into the chat.
So there you go. Productivity and wellness and sex.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Isiah, how did you get on this path?
Okay, so it started for me when I was in my early 20s. I went to a music festival and there was a Tantra yoga workshop there. I have no idea how I knew what Tantra was. I'm from a small country town. You know, they don't have Tantra yoga workshops where I grew up. But I went along and it was amazing. So Tantra is like the sexy kind of yoga.
Yeah.
If, you know,
I've heard this.
Sting does Tantra.
American Pie too. Have you seen that one? He does this Tantra thing that he can't.
Well, let's talk about Tantra.
Sorry.
What is Tantra?
Okay, so Tantra is actually a kind of yoga. It is a spiritual practice, but it has incredible benefits for our sex lives and relationships as well. So one of the things that people have often heard about it is Sting does Tantra, you know, and he can have sex for hours on end. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than that, but that is one of the amazing benefits. Longer sex, more powerful, more enjoyable orgasms, and kind of deeper intimacy and connection with our partner as well.
Yeah, okay. So how often do you have to do this Tantra thing then?
I'm seriously worried about the questions.
What do you mean? I'm just asking questions. You want to get a guy's perspective?
How long? Oh my God!
No,
what are you going to ask?
Tantra, like how often or how long do you have to be practicing Tantra to become, you know, hours on end type of person?
I guess it's like anything. The more that you practice, the more benefits that you get from it. You know, you don't.
It's like a muscle.
It's like a muscle, exactly. So you kind of build up, you know, your stamina. You build things up as you go. But you know, Tantra also doesn't have to take 9 hours, right? It really can just help enhance things and help you have a more intense connection, even when you're spending a short amount of time having sex.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what are these types of exercises that you do in Tantra?
So we would do things like, you know, making eye contact with a partner. We would do breathing to prolong the pleasure, for example, to teach men how to have orgasms without ejaculating, to help women have easier, more powerful orgasms. We would do things like massage as well, or even stretches like normal yoga. So you can actually do Tantra and never have sex with anyone, or you can use the practices from Tantra and incorporate them into lovemaking and have really amazing sex.
Do singles have Tantra as well? Like, would you have Tantra with another single and not even be able to touch them?
Like in a whole room of people?
Yeah.
You can do that. Look, when I teach Tantra, I teach it closed and I don't teach contact with other people because it actually really starts with ourselves. And so I think great sex and great relationships start with ourselves anyway. So you can absolutely learn it like that and still get all the benefits from it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you went to this Comic-Con and you decided to become interested, or you knew that it's in your DNA, right? And then what happened?
Right, so something called me along and I loved it. So, people kind of get surprised when they meet me now and they hear me talk about this. I was really shy and kind of awkward growing up. So I, felt self-conscious about my body and I didn't attract great relationships. For me, Tantra changed all of that. So it helped me, feel really confident and comfortable in my own skin. It gave me permission to explore and to enjoy sex more, which I hadn't really done before. And I started attracting better relationships. So I loved what I was learning so much that I just wanted to share it with people. So not long after I started teaching, a psychologist actually saw me teach and asked if I would work with his male clients experiencing sexual dysfunction to teach them the practical things that I knew through Tantra that he didn't know and couldn't teach them. And that just totally opened my eyes to the possibilities for sharing this work with people. Like I really got to see how much sex and relationships impacts our whole life and our overall happiness, right? When things aren't working in these areas, it impacts our happiness in other areas, and I actually realized I could help make people happier by improving their sex lives.
So, okay,
I'm staying quiet at you. I've got so many more questions that I could.
Well, I mean, I think the topic is very interesting, but your education. I mean, you've got a PhD now.
I actually have 2 masters.
Well,
so I don't know. I keep
Sorry,
getting
2 masters.
2 masters.
You're not as good as I thought you were.
Right, so after I did this work with the psychologist, Tantra is such a wonderful foundation and it has so many wonderful skills and techniques to bring, but I also wanted to learn more. So I actually went to study in the US at the Institute for the Advanced Studies of Human Sexuality. So I finished a certificate over there. I came back to Australia. I did a master's in relational psychotherapy, so I'm a couples therapist as well. I did a postgraduate diploma in sexology. So Liam, one for you. You can actually go to university and study
to learn
sexology.
about sex.
And then I also did another master's in sexual health counseling.
Yeah. It's funny because the first time I saw you, you were wearing this black hat tassel, you had glasses on, and you're like, I'm a sexologist. And I'm like, that doesn't look like a sexologist. I don't need to prejudge, but I think it's really nice. You're very welcoming and warm, and there's nothing intimidating about you. And I think that's probably why people are comfortable with you, and because you do need to have that comfortable, because you're getting intimate with these couples and.
Completely. Look, and I do talk to people and educate people about sex now, but I'm really still just a girl from the country, and helping people feel comfortable, and having people know that I'm just a really normal person as well is really important to me, because I think there need to be more conversations about sex, and I think we need to feel comfortable around it.
So what is some success stories then? Success stories.
Good one. I've never heard that before.
You should actually put that into your. Liam, that is a really good one. I'm sorry.
I thought you were being sarcastic.
No, can you imagine the testimonials? These are some success.
Success.
That's going on my website later.
Okay, cool. I'm patenting that. I'm going to steal that from you. I want in on the sexologist scenario.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, I really, every day I see couples' lives change, and I think the stories that stand out the most for me are really, when couples come to me on the brink of separation, and, sex is showing up as a problem for them. Perhaps they have different desire levels, or one of them kind of ends up having no desire for some reason, but often they've just never been able to talk about sex in a way that's, effective, and so they know that sex is a problem, but they're kind of stuck on what to do about it. And so when I'm working with people, I'm also working on the relationship as well, because for me, emotional intimacy and sexual intimacy are connected.
Kind of,
Absolutely. We need to have a connection outside the bedroom for us to have a really great connection inside the bedroom. So in working with them, they find that their overall connection is strengthened, they communicate better, and they're actually able to talk about sex, and they kind of have tools and skills for making it better and becoming more aligned around it, which, a lot of, we're not taught that, right? We're not really taught how to talk about sex. We get sex education, but we miss out on, the important things around pleasure.
We always giggle when we talk about sex, though, don't we? Like we're always like, someone says sex, and we're like, oh, you know, it's not instead of having a real open conversation around it, you know.
Right, absolutely. Or, you know, for a lot of couples where it's showing up as a problem, they, you know, perhaps every time they start to talk about it, it ends in an argument around
Exactly
it.
right. So why is it that men seem to, you know, be shorter in the bedroom than women? Why can't women be more shorter in the bedroom than men? Or do they?
Oh, look, I think that they can. I mean, I think we also have different kind of biology, right? And I think it's not necessarily about being shorter, but the potential for satisfaction as well. So actually, although some women can orgasm quite quickly, perhaps with the use of a toy or a vibrator, what we find is if women spend longer warming up, the orgasms are often more satisfying.
More satisfying and quicker.
So, and that's one of the things, you know, that I work with couples on, you know, not just through Tantra, but, you know, in kind of my therapy and coaching as well, is getting the timings to align and having men and women understand both how we're different, but how we can then kind of bring those differences into alignment so there's more satisfaction for everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you mentioned that you have to have a strong connection outside of the bedroom in order for you to have a connection inside of the bedroom. But what if we were to flip that around? Do you think that having a strong relationship inside the bedroom helps more? Like if you're attentive to your partner and you're connected in the bedroom, then life past the bedroom seems to get... But there's some common, like, fundamental things that people need to agree to. I don't know. I mean, like...
I think agreeing that sex is actually important and is a priority is kind of where like a lot of couples need to start, because I think you're right that having a connection outside the bedroom leads into connection inside the bedroom. But absolutely, like, you know, sex gets so many endorphins and hormones flowing and is so beautiful and intimate that it really can bring a couple closer together. So actually recognizing that we need to give it time and we need to give it attention and we need to make it important. You know, like anything in our lives is what's going to really help couples in that kind of way. So, you know, giving it time is something that comes up a lot because we have such busy lives that, you know, often it doesn't just happen when we're caught up on doing all the day-to-day things. So we need to kind of just make a little bit of an effort around it.
Yeah, definitely. How many times a week should we all have sex?
Okay,
7.
What, a day? A day?
Well,
7 a day?
I'm always a little bit cagey about answering that question. Look, because, you know, the truth is it's going to be different for everyone. It's going to be different for every couple, and it's going to be different week to week. Like, if we've got a really busy week with a lot of stuff going on, the reality is it's not going to happen as frequently as, you know, perhaps in the honeymoon period or when we're on holidays or just, you know, when we've got space and we're feeling really good about life.
a lot of stress, external stress can cause problems as well.
Stress is terrible for our libido.
That's right, absolutely. But if the couple can learn to communicate, like, look, hon, I'm stressed out, can we, you know, so what are some common, like, coping mechanisms? Or, like, first of all, what are some problems that create tension? Like, probably, like, money problems or stress, or do you find there's, like, common problems that couples come up against, which creates...
Yeah, absolutely. So money, stress, having so much going on, just being so busy that they're disconnected from each other, having kind of tension because their, you know, communication perhaps isn't the very best it could be, like that they haven't been able to resolve some ongoing issues that they have.
Like inside the relationship or outside with their own life, and they're bringing that into the relationship? Which one? Or both?
Yeah, look, a little bit of both, but often inside the relationship is where I see it, and, you know, so that kind of tension and disharmony often doesn't lead to, you know, it's not very sexy to be arguing with your partner.
Definitely not.
You know, obviously, you know, couples who have children, that's kind of an extra pressure and stress, and as women are in long-term relationships, their libido is going to change as well because our hormone balance is going to change.
What, drop? It's going to drop naturally, or
I think go up.
Oh, go up.
Oh, see, this is really interesting. But
Go up or
for
down?
some people, their libido will actually go down.
Okay.
As they're in a long-term
Oh,
relationship.
in a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about as life gets longer, or like as we grow older.
Mm.
I don't know. Because look at Hugh Hefner. I mean, he was going until he was.
He had a lot of help. He would have had a lot of help.
Look at there's resentment in that.
Well, he had like 7 girls around him all the time. How the hell did that work? I don't know how he chose that life. Well done.
No, he did really well.
He did very well.
Look, and so what we know about libido is that age actually doesn't impact it. It's more relationship factors like being in a long-term relationship that impacts us. But, you know, I work with couples, you know, in their 60s, and I have colleagues who've told me about working with couples or individuals like into their 70s and 80s as well, who are, you know, for some of them, they're having the best sex that they've ever had because they're becoming more open, because what it is that they're focused on is changing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you get wiser, you kind of let go of some of the, I don't know, you just let go a little bit and you accept a little bit more. And
absolutely. And as you start to feel more comfortable in your own skin, you start to have, you know, deeper connections with other people as well. Then.
So where did
you're 20 or, you know.
Where did the Tantra come from? Is it like a Buddhist thing, or is it like a, you know, and then how related is it to Kama Sutra?
Right, so they're actually different things, but I get how people kind of see them as similar. So Tantra originated in the northwest of India, around the Kashmir region, and kind of spread from there. So it is like an ancient form of yoga, really. And as I said, you can, you know, obviously you can bring it into lovemaking, but it's also a spiritual practice where, you know, some people who practice Tantra, you know, are celibate. So there's this amazing spectrum that Tantra kind of bridges in there.
Yeah, okay, cool. And the Kama Sutra is like more the positions and all that stuff.
Exactly.
More like ancient porno.
Oh gosh, Leo.
Exactly, from a time when people were more flexible than we are now.
So what about those things? Like, I mean, pornography. You know, for guys especially, I don't know if girls go into that, like kids growing up. Do you think that that's had some form of effect on when you go into a relationship? Maybe males feel as though there's an expectation of how they should be doing it and how long they should be going for, and that, you know, does that have any consideration? How bad is porno for us? Or how good is it?
So, you know, I'm going to sit on the fence on this one because I think, you know, pornography does have benefits as well in terms of it can be a great education for people in some ways, knowing what is possible. You know, and I think like anything, you know, we can be aware of the kind of porn that works for us and the messages that are being shared in that kind of pornography and, you know, how aligned we feel with them. We are certainly seeing challenges that are arising now because of the use of pornography. And, you know, and that is things like expectation. So the expectation that, you know, women don't need foreplay or warming up, that they're just kind of ready straight away, and that they like to be, am I allowed to say, what kind of language
Go for
am I?
it. Go for it. If we get in trouble, then we'll just wear it. Beg for forgiveness, isn't that what we said?
I'm dying to hear what you're just about to
say. Just say it.
Because I think porn's giving the illusion that women just like to be fucked really long and hard, and that's it. And women, they're supposed to orgasm really quickly and easily and multiple times, and that just is not how our bodies work.
That's acting right there, right? I mean,
Exactly.
they can pretend like they're enjoying it and they're just like not even in their body, you know?
Or they might have been warming up beforehand in order to get into that position anyway.
Right, absolutely. And so I think, you know, both men and women are both missing out in regards to that.
Okay.
Because a lot of women, they want connection. You know, they want perhaps something slower and more gentle as well, and they're kind of missing out on that because what we're seeing in pornography a lot of the time is, oh, this is what women like, this is, you know, this is how sex is supposed to be.
And is it individualized? You're talking about, like, you know, warming up, like one girl might be like, she likes her ears touched or something. I'm not too sure. Like anything, I'm just using those examples.
Right. So what everyone likes is going to be different.
So then you have to communicate. I mean, what about some of my friends out there that are single and they have a relationship with a girl, or they enter that first period of a girl with a girl, and they're trying to work each other out. So do you just openly communicate? Like, guys find it hard to communicate. We're like, no, we've got this covered. We don't have a fucking clue. Come on. No one knows. We just because it's very mysterious because we don't know.
Yeah.
You're different. You're different.
Yeah.
You're different.
Yeah.
So
And you know, and we're different on different days. You know, we're different depending on the mood that we're in. So I kind of had these illusions as I started getting into, you know, my studies around this, and you know, I was learning all these interesting things around cock massage and pussy massage and all these interesting tips and techniques. Oh my god! And I love to say that.
We've never
I
had
don't
that
know,
word
man.
before.
I'm just gonna see if messages will be flying in soon. I don't know if
I'm just gonna say fuck, but what? How dare you say pussy? I'm just joking. It's called
Say
a
it.
vagina.
Well, actually, it's called a vulva, but we can get onto that. So, you know, I thought I would be sharing all these amazing tips and techniques with people, but what I end up doing so much of the time, and what the people that I work with tell me really makes a difference to them, is that I teach them how to communicate.
Yes,
so if I'm working with a couple, I teach them how to communicate to each other. You know, I give them exercises that help them discover for themselves what they like. And even when I'm working with women, for example, by themselves, you know, I teach them to work out how they can, you know, find out what do I actually like, and then how they communicate that to a partner.
So do you think that alcohol and one night stands should be banished from this, you know, having a deep sexual connection with someone, or do you reckon you could still have that alcohol infused, you know, one night stand, you know, like we all imagine, or we don't imagine? I don't know, maybe.
Well, look, I think we've all
Not
been
now.
there.
Not now. I'm in a relationship, but you know, from people
So,
like who are single in that mindset.
Sure. And I think it's a really interesting question, because I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And, you know, and certainly it was kind of a part of my sexual development, if you like, kind of having some of those barriers be broken down with alcohol and having connections to people that way. But I often see, you know, people who kind of get to their 30s who are not going out and drinking anymore. They've settled into a long-term relationship, perhaps for the first time in their lives. And then all of a sudden they're trying to figure out, how do I have a really fun, satisfying, playful sexual relationship without alcohol, because that has always been a part of it for them. So it's really interesting having people kind of, not that that was wrong, it's just that then actually we have to kind of find a different way of, you know, being sexually intimate with people.
Yeah, and you talked about emotions before, you know, girls having, you know, certain emotions on certain days. That's so confusing for a guy.
Oh, totally.
Like, how the hell do we figure you girls out then?
I
Like,
know,
it's an
'cause
impossible task.
You
then.
guys really, you want like a step-by-step formula,
Yeah,
right?
well, like, because that's how we think. We're more, girls are more peripheral thinkers, we're more tunnel vision.
Right.
You know, that's it. We want steps. Girls want, like, you got to figure it out. Well, fuck, now, excuse my swearing. How do you figure that one out? One day you might want this one, and then you try the next, it doesn't work, so what happens?
And that's really where the communication becomes really important, and also the attentiveness, like being really, you know, it's a bit of a vague word, but being really present to someone. So noticing the way that a woman is responding on a particular day. If she kind of tightens her body, it maybe means that she's not really enjoying it, and be willing to ask her. You know, don't leave it up to the woman to keep asking for what she wants. Like, be willing to ask her, hey, does this feel good? Do you prefer this or this today? You know, so that it is kind of constantly evolving.
Yeah, okay,
And that you're holding space for the woman to share her emotion, because a lot of times if they're clamping up, they probably don't want to talk about it, or they might be, you know, scared to share, which is what I was going to ask. I mean, the people that you see people on a regular basis, couples, singles, and but it's taken a bit of acknowledgement that they have a problem before they come and see you. So what happens for the couple that knows that they have a problem, but they're too shy or they're too scared to admit it, not only to themselves, but to their partner? Do you have any tips on to get to the first step of calling you to help them through this?
Yeah, look, I think it is really tough, because you know, a lot of people know that there's a challenge, but hope that they can overcome it by themselves, or you know, they don't want to have to say it out loud. I think it really is kind of getting to a point inside yourself where you realize that you actually, you know, deserve more, and that you actually want something more for your relationship and sex life, and kind of recognizing that, as challenging as it can be, to have the conversation around it, that things can't change if you're not willing to do that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big fear too for people who, you know, who might recognize that things aren't working. You know, of course, we can feel fear and embarrassment and shame, but also there can be this worry.
Felt
What
that.
if we right?
Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
look, I'm a guy. You've been active for a few years now. You get embarrassed about the situation you're in. You know, it could be embarrassing sometimes.
Yeah.
Completely. And I think, like, the thing is, I think shame and fear around sex are really universal. I know it still comes up for me, and, you know, I've been studying and, you know, exploring in this area for over a decade now.
So
It
what
still really
fears?
comes up.
What fears? What are you talking about?
So
in terms of
fear around, oh my gosh, what will my partner think if I ask for this? What if
okay.
I'm enjoying myself too much? What if I want something that my partner doesn't want? What are they going to think of me if I express my desire?
Is that mainly coming from a lady's perspective, and then what to a man? Like, because guys are like, well, a lot of my friends anyway, usually just up for what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. That's a guy. I just feel as though that's more of a guy thing, or is it just my group of friends? They're just sick.
Open-minded?
Open-minded. They're just sick.
Look, I think it can go both ways. Like, a lot of men are also kind of a little bit shy about sometimes saying, hey, you know, what about this? So I think it really can go both ways. Yeah, you know, for everyone.
Feeling
okay.
comfortable to talk about it. It's just getting to the point of both of you feeling comfortable to just have that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What
The
happens?
conversation.
What happens if the person is falling out of love and is not romantic at all, and they don't want to have sex with their partner anymore, and they're in a marriage?
So that is a really interesting question, because I think that there's a way love doesn't stay the same, and it's not necessarily a sign that the relationship's over, but all relationships will go through different phases. Often there can be that feeling of, I'm just not interested anymore, and that's an opportunity for us to look at, okay, what's really going on in the relationship here? Is there something underneath that we need to look at? But we also need to keep in mind that desire really is responsive rather than spontaneous, and so we often expect that as at the start of a relationship, you know, sexual desire just kind of arises, and we take that as our cue to be intimate with our partner. Actually, in a long-term relationship, desire is more likely to be responsive. So that means we need to kind of start being intimate or connecting with our partner to give desire a chance to respond.
And it doesn't have to be so in a sexual term. It could be just with anything. Like, does that make sense? Like, it just be desiring your partner. Could be inside or outside the bedroom. Is that right?
Exactly. So, you know, date nights, having time together, having the deep and important conversations, going out of your way to do nice things for each other, touching, you know, without it necessarily needing to lead to sex. Like, that's going to start to get those hormones going that are going to start to get our sex drive going.
What are your thoughts on opening a relationship and bringing other people in to maybe spice it up, or...
So this is a good question.
Sometimes bringing somebody else in the bedroom might, pique the person's interest.
I think I'll be jealous. No chance of, no way on earth.
What if it was a girl?
Yes. More likely to happen than bring another guy in. But that's not fair, is it?
Let's ask the sexologist.
Hey, I'm a sexologist as well. I'm going to be on a website. No.
So, look, this is a really good question, and it's actually one that I get asked about a lot, because I think more and more we're seeing people opt for kind of alternative kinds of relationship, and not just kind of the monogamous relationships that we've become accustomed to. So I've definitely seen people choose to open up a relationship as a way of kind of adding some spice to things, keeping things new and interesting, or just really in the recognition that one person can't be their everything for 50 years of their lives.
Yeah,
So,
you touched on a really interesting point, because you and I had Isiah and I had a really long conversation before she comes on the show, and we were talking all kinds of girly stuff, and we brought up the book Sex at Dawn. So I read this book about 5 years ago, and I was just wondering, can you talk about the physiological side of men and women and what that's like in modern day society?
Yeah, so I love this book. This book for me just confirmed so much of of what I had been feeling around relationships. And essentially, what the book says is that humans didn't evolve to be naturally monogamous, and it's something that's kind of just become part of our culture. And also argues that it's something we're not actually very good at, because we are still having conversations about what about open relationship, that we're still, we have sites like, Ashley Madison that are all about affairs. And so, as I was talking earlier about women's sex drive often declining in a long-term relationship, the kind of belief is that because we're not actually designed to stay with one person and stay kind of sexually turned on by one person alone for 40 years, so we're actually expecting more of our partners than ever before. So the idea is
that's scary.
Well,
is that not scary then? Or what do we do?
The feeling that you get from meeting a new person that you're attracted to, it's like you get, spiked, or not spiked, but you get really excited.
What's that mean?
Is
that the girl boner?
This is the man. This is the man. You get really excited. So, new person excited.
Yeah.
Then down. New person excited. So if you're the same person as new person excited. Wedding, excited.
That's like a little bit more bipolar. This seems a bit more steady,
Yeah, but what if it's down here?
You never,
So I know that open relationship isn't going to work for everyone, but keeping in mind that if a sex drive is kind of going like this, that we may essentially be working kind of against our biology, and therefore we need to put attention in to just kind of keeping our sex life interesting and giving it attention, doing those things that cultivate desire.
That's right. Cultivate desire. That's good.
Yeah. So I think.
What are these desires,
well,
girls? You just had a pause then, but it's like you girls were telepathic then. What's going on here? What are these desires? Remember step by step, male step by step.
Massage,
okay,
dance, a nice dance.
A nice dance. See, we know. How the hell do we know that a dance is meant to be desirable for leading into that? Guys, from a guy's perspective, we're thinking we've watched too much porn, I reckon. As speaking on the behalf of men everywhere, I think I've probably watched too much porn as a kid.
So we have a few steps in Tantra that might be helpful. Here we go, Liam.
Okay,
step by step, a few steps
on.
in Tantra. So the first one is we want to kind of warm up the body, right? So massage, dance. So you're right, Sheena.
Massage, dance.
Because we spend so much time in our heads, right? We're in a culture that's so much time in our heads. But for us to come down into our bodies, we're going to start to feel more. So we're going to feel more pleasure, and we're going to start to feel more turned on. So that's the first step. Second step is to take time to connect with your partner. Often we'll be making love and it's dark, for example, or, we're getting a bit caught up in our insecurities or our thoughts, but actually to kind of take a minute to connect, maybe look at each other in the eyes, or just start paying attention to your partner, and then to really start building the sexual energy from there. So we want some of the preliminary foreplay to, we were talking before about the differences in men and women maybe take a little bit longer to get warmed up. So taking that time to warm up their body, look at each other through the eyes, and then start to build the sexual energy is going to help that. Then, in Tantra, we're all about building up and up and up, rather than just kind of having like...
Here I am! Let's go for it!
And the idea is that we
that came out of nowhere. That scared me then. Here I am. Oh, fuck.
That's exactly what it is. Like, can you just ease into it, please?
Ease into it.
So sort of ride the waves, and so it doesn't all have to, sex is not all about ending in, orgasm or orgasm for both partners. We can actually kind of ride the waves of pleasure, if you like, and there might be points where things are a little bit slower, we might kind of speed up, but then, things can slow down again as well. So we can just kind of take our time and enjoy things.
Go on.
I was going to say, and maybe choose to have an orgasm at the end, if we want. So that, it's not just all explode and over. Like, we might actually feel more pleasure, or we might actually decide we don't want to have an orgasm that particular day as well. Like, we're just enjoying the closeness and connection. And the final step that Tantra would offer then is to actually connect again and take time to be in the afterplay of things, rather than, you know, wham bam, thank you, let's go and
Thank you. So something that you might want to do, like maybe outside of the bedroom, talk about things that you liked inside of the bedroom. So that kind of spices. Hey, I really liked the way you did this last night, or, you know, so
like
that
critiquing,
not critiquing, but sharing what you liked and sharing like. You know, and maybe it's too intimate at the time, but maybe a few hours later or the next day, that can really spice things up because you're not expecting it, and, you know, that.
Absolutely. So I think giving feedback on what you loved can be really helpful as well. You know, it makes you feel
more
good,
confident, and, you know, because it might be a little bit too intimate at the time, but whilst you know, step away from the bedroom and have a little bit more perspective, it's easier to talk about.
It is so much easier to talk about outside the bedroom rather than when you're in the heat of the moment.
And giving compliments and really encouraging that that's what you like, or that's what you don't like, or, you know, whatever. It's easier to do when.
Absolutely. So I always think, rather than like a critique, like giving positive feedback is really
encouragement.
the way forward. You know, it's like, oh, I really liked it when you were soft with me, when you were going really slow. That was, you know, kind of my favorite. My favorite part.
Okay. So, and we talked about monogamous relationships and the transition, which were not designed to be in this relationship for a long period of time. Are we evolving into having, and we're in the evolution part of having to be in monogamous relationships, or do you reckon that's going to go back to how it used to be in terms of not having a monogamous relationship then? Or like, where are we sitting there for humans?
A really good question. And look, and the answer is I'm not quite sure. I obviously monogamy really works for a lot of people.
For stability, you know?
For stability, for partnership, and, you know, we can go to an amazing depth when it's just, you know, two people. And, you know, as I said, I'm seeing, you know, I guess an increasing number of people in my practice opting for different ways of opening up their relationship. And I know it's not going to work for everyone as well. So, you know, my role is never to kind of, you know, tell people that they should have this kind of relationship or that kind of relationship. It's about helping them work out what it is that works for them. You know, and maybe there are other ways that we can bring kind of spice into a relationship as aside from opening it up. But for some people, that is going to be what they want, and, you know, and I fully support that if people choose to go down that route as well. You know, but I'm there too if they're my clients. I'm going to be coaching them on communication and setting boundaries and agreements, so that when they are opening the relationship up, they're doing it in a way that's you know, helpful and effective.
So what about the flip side then? If I've got a lot of mates who are single, you know, female and male, and what is it in terms of having multiple sex partners? Is that a bad thing? Would that ruin, you know, our spiritual side with Tantra, or is that a good thing to experience different partners then?
Yeah, I mean, Tantra doesn't really have a perspective on that. For example, I think, you know, I speak to people sometimes who think that, you know, they perhaps ended up in a monogamous relationship quite young, and there's a way they feel like they might have missed out on exploring different things. I think, you know, again, different options are going to work for different people. I think if you're having multiple partners at the expense of committing to someone and having a deep connected relationship with someone, you know, then you may be missing out if that's something that you want. You know, there's so much choice around these days with online dating and everything as well. Like, you know, it's kind of easy to go from, you know, one person to another, and you can, you know, swipe again.
Swipe left, swipe right. I remember I was a single man on that swipe left, swipe right. You know, it's just so easy to judge people.
Yeah.
The amount of girls that have probably done that with me as well. So I've got that with my stunned smile. I was saying, what? No. What a no.
I'm just joking, my brother. Guys, oh my gosh, this has been such an awesome chat, but we're going to have to wrap it up. But I want to know, you know, I know your schedule is really busy, but are you taking couples, and how can people get in touch with you? And Yeah.
So I am taking couples at the moment, and I work with women singly as well.
Okay.
So women who want to get in touch with their own sexuality, or perhaps work through challenging relationship patterns so that they can have better relationships going forward. So I see all my own clients via Skype at the moment, which works out so well for my clients. You know, it means no traveling, it's so private and convenient, they don't have to find babysitters. So I am, taking couples on for therapy and coaching via Skype. And I also have some online programs opening in the next couple of months.
I think that's going to be really good, because a lot of times, like I was saying, they don't even admit to themselves or, you know, their partner that there's a problem. So this will allow them to take that first little step to maybe then taking that full step with you.
Absolutely.
Great idea. I think that's the one training course that will do really well.
I think it'll do very well.
Yeah.
You're on a gold mine there, sexologist.
Yeah, I'm so excited to promote it too, because I think that it's needed, and you know, it's just a fresh perspective, and you're kind of breaking the barrier of the taboo, like we were talking about.
Yeah,
because
even this conversation, we're giggling like little.
Yeah, but
you know.
it's like I don't feel. I mean, like it's just so natural with you. You make it so beautiful and just natural.
Yeah,
you know,
it's awesome.
Like I haven't had a conversation about sex like this ever.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's comfortable. It makes us feel comfortable. It's where it should be, and that's what's going to relate back into the bedroom. We're going to feel comfortable with each other.
Right, that's it.
Yeah, you can say. I saw the Wellness Radio, and there's this lady called Isiah, and she thinks that we should do this. What do you think?
Right.
Blame it on the third person, Isiah. You're going to get a lot of like.
Isiah, you're going to get
things blamed on me.
a lot of it now.
Isiah
said, I got to dance with you.
I'm happy to take the credit for that.
What if you can't dance? That's a turn off. See, I'm not a good dancer, and then she likes to dance. I'm not a good dancer. Instant turn off, isn't it?
Maybe learn massage then.
Massage. I'm good with massage.
Yeah.
Good with massage, I reckon. Got that one down packed. Been an absolute pleasure.
Awesome.
Barrel of fun. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Guys.
So it's Isiah
Mckimme.
Isiah Mckimme.
So IsiahMckimme.com. Isiah-Mckimme.com when you find me online.
Great. We'll put it in the advertisement that we do for you. And yay!
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a great opportunity to chat to the sexologist. Now we're all sexologists.
Yeah.
Not officially. Obviously, Isiah is the official one, but I'm what's that? Sorry.
I'm seeing a new career for you.
Career, yeah, exactly. I'm getting out of fitness first as a personal training manager. I'm becoming a sexologist. Part-time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yay!
This is Bondi Radio.
That was awesome. Your boy, he's doing good.
Oh, he's doing good.
I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, that's so...
My little lady, too.
Oh my god, I'm sorry he got off. He's like, he just doesn't understand being outside.
He doesn't understand
He doesn't
outside.
understand outside. I'm in here, he's out there.
Yeah, he's like, oh, mate. Well done, that was awesome chat.
Oh, great. I hope it was fun.
Yeah, 100%. It was good.
Dude, you guys made it really fun.
That's
so
what we
nice
want to
having
do.
other people to bounce off.
Yeah, 100%. It's not meant to be like wellness and health shouldn't be so serious and strict all the time, man. It's causing anxiety. Don't you reckon? Jump in, Jen. How are you, buddy? Good, thank you. Yeah, 100%.
100%. Because
Spit.
we have 5 minutes with her.
Don't worry about it. We'll just have a good chat. We'll bring her in again.
I'm just going to let it be all of her.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take Emily.
Are you going to take Emily? Yes, see? Okay, so me and Jen will talk then. Yeah, sweet. We've already done one before.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, it's good. We'll bring her on the game then. Is it alright if you want to come on the game?
Yeah, of course.
Just because, so what's that problem? They've got people
They've got
coming.
it booked to 12:30, but I'm like, if you just shut up.
It's an 8-year-old girl.
And your battery is low.
That's alright. No worries. We
Okay,
can go
I think
on.
it's just going to be you two.
Alright, that's good. We'll have a bit of fun.
Yeah,
anyway.
it'll be
We've got-
better because I won't hog up the mic.
It's
But
usually
Jen,
me hugging up.
seriously, I would love to speak with you.
Yeah,
and
that makes
I,
sense. If you're not here, it makes sense.
Sure, yeah, I'm going to go. I know that.
Okay, yeah, because I've got one of the oldest, and he reserved this for his birthday.
Okay.
We're going like that.
All good. Jump in, Jen. It's all happening down here, isn't it? So the reason why we have the microphone, or the headphones, sorry, is to have the microphone so you can hear yourself in the mic.
Okay.
Have you been on the radio before?
No.
No? You excited? Nervous?
Yeah.
It's a step up from our last time.
I
isn't
know.
it?
You're going to take the tripod?
I'll take. Is
Yeah.
that alright?
Yeah, take the tripod.
Alright, cool.
Yeah. And the 2 bits that go with it.
No problem. Alright, ready to go, buddy?
Do you want to plug your battery in or not?
I don't have any, what's it called? So we're just have to going to go, but we recorded it through voices anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Through podcast, so we've got it 2 ways, through Facebook Live and Isiah, and through podcast, through the audio as well. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
Excited? Keen? Nervous?
Yeah. I'm not nervous.
Not nervous?
No.
Alright, you'll hear me in coming in.
Broadcasting from the world famous Bondi Beach. This is Bondi Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live down on Bondi Radio for the Weekend Wellness Show. My name is Liam Zollo, the host, and my lovely co-host had to head out of here. She had a sick daughter, and I've got a sub in, awesome sub in today. You can't hear anything, Jen Dugard? You can't hear anything from the headphones at all? Anyway, I can hear you, so I don't know what's going on there. So welcome in, Jen.
How are you?
Great, thank you. We've been friends for some time now. We've known each other for a long time.
We have.
We've known each other I reckon since My Body Studio in Randwick.
Which was a long time ago, early days in my business. So
Exactly right. Yeah. Everything's moved on a lot since then.
Definitely.
A lot since then. So tell the guys out there what you're actually doing now. I know you're doing pre and postnatal. You're a pre-postnatal specialist.
Yep.
I didn't even know you were doing retreats now, and these retreats look awesome.
Yeah, we've got a retreat coming up. Our first mum-focused fitness retreat in November in Thailand.
Oh
Which
wow!
is very, very exciting. So if there's anyone out there wanting to get away from the kids for 5 days,
Oh, is that what it is?
they
So
can
it's
come
like
and join us.
just
Yeah.
the parents getting away?
Just mum,
Oh, just mum.
which is even better. You know,
Yeah.
because mum does everything, right? Or
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
Yeah,
so-
100%.
Yeah.
Mum does everything. Mum's always known as doing everything. Why is that though? Is it are men lazy?
No, I don't think they are, and I don't think that, in a lot of families I could be very harsh to say men don't do anything because there's a lot of guys I know now are very, very hands-on with their kids, but I do think we were having this conversation with some friends the other day, and it's like, you may have a job and you may, have a lot of things to get done, but it often comes down to you to make a change in plans if the kids need a change in plans.
Yeah.
Or so you're constantly having this, how do I deal with my career? How do I deal with everything going on around me and just make sure the kids are okay? So
Yeah.
a lot of women battle the kind of, it comes down to me.
Yeah.
But I guess, the retreat is a way of just stepping out of that for 5 days. And for a lot of women, it'll be one of the first times that they've ever left their child, probably for more than a few hours.
And so, do you think there's that separation anxiety that comes with that? Do you reckon that's a challenge that the mums out there will have to overcome?
Absolutely. And
How do you deal with that?
I think the first time you leave your child, it's always hard. But I do think from a personal perspective and also for the women that I work with, even just on a day-to-day basis, the sooner that you can become comfortable with trusting your child with other people. And at the end of the day, it used to take a village to raise a child, and now we try and do it on our own.
Yeah.
And there's so many other people out there that can have a positive influence on your child's life that it's almost a shame if you don't allow that to happen. So both from a time-out perspective and the child being exposed to other people.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But I do think, when it comes to the retreat, women, we may get more women that have been away from their child for longer. but maybe not that whole 5 days. So I imagine there'll be a few tears and a few wondering how the kids are going and all that kind of thing.
It's
but,
almost like sending the kids to camp, but the other way around.
Absolutely.
It's like the kids are waving at their mums instead of the mums waving at the kids to see you later.
Yeah,
You know?
and hopefully we can distract mum enough with a few cocktails and some yoga and some
Sounds awesome.
running
What,
on the beach.
are you going to do a dad's one as well?
I don't know about that. We might have to find a dad
I could run
out
the
there
dad's
to do
one.
the
Oh,
math.
I'm
You
not a
can do
dad
that.
though. I've got a puppy. I could
There you
claim.
go.
Could I claim that one?
Puppies are worse than children.
Yeah. Oh man, I've figured that out. I thought puppies were better than children. I'd rather have a child now because this little puppy just kept us up at like 12, 2, 4 a.m. for the first few days.
I
And
don't
I'm like,
think I could do it. For
Yeah.
a child, I can do it, obviously, but I don't know if I could add a puppy into my equation.
really? Okay, so that's good to know. Now I'm like, I've got good patience
should be
with.
fine
I
now
should be
with
fine
this.
with kids. Pump them out, and then I'm pumping them out. Tell my girlfriend. She'd be freaking out listening to this now, going, "Oh shit, I've got another
You've had
couple."
good practice.
Yeah. So why did you enter this space of pre-postnatal?
So, as a bit of background, Body Beyond Baby is the primary business that I run, and I've been running for almost 10 years now. I started the business when my son Marley was 3 months old, so he was born in 2008. And for anyone thinking, how did you do that when he was 3 months old? I got to sleep. So first time around, I got a child that slept a lot, and he kind of did what he was supposed to do, whatever that is. And that gave me a bit of headspace, and I kind of went, I want to do something. What do I do? I was a personal trainer before having Marley, up at Fitness First in Bondi Junction. And
Which one, Spring Street or Platinum?
No, Platinum.
Platinum.
I still train up there now, so it's
Yeah?
really cool. It's
Like
10
train
years later.
people?
No, I train myself up
Okay.
there, so I still see a lot of the people that I saw
Yeah.
were there when I was working there.
Yeah.
But I found myself after having Marley surrounded by women who wanted to exercise but didn't necessarily know what to do. They couldn't get away from their children. I was lucky I had a really great friend who would come and walk him around Bondi Junction for an hour while I went to the gym.
Yeah.
But